Okay, so yeah, talking about online, face to face, hybrid, whatever you want to call it. Good education, bad education, education for all, accessibility. All students should be able to go and see the class in their own way. As I was explaining, if I when I do my class on May 1st, 2nd, June, no, May 29th, June 1st, um, I will do exactly the same as I'm doing now. I'll have a PowerPoint. I will share the videos. I will record the class. I will be in the class. I'll still use PowerPoint, and then students in the face-to-face and an online will do Padlets, Mentimeters, Google Slides, Google everything. And so then that way you can have it all. I would turn my camera. Maybe I'll bring my GoPro to class and set it all up. But I will only record myself. I won't show other students in the classroom unless you guys are okay with it. Okay. I don't get a lot of interactions from online class usually, which is okay with me. I don't care. I know you guys are learning. Somebody was doing work. Somebody was doing work in the Google Classroom and not coming to this class. So, some of you have made a choice that you will learn on your own time, which I don't mind. That's the beauty of online education. I can work anytime I want, I can work anywhere I want. Um, which I'm going to segues into the next topic, the future. Let's talk about what's going on this week and next week. Okay. So, I have to make an announcement, an important announcement. I will be going to Adana and maybe Hatay on Thursday, the 13th of April. Okay. I have to go because I don't have another chance to go. And hopefully I will be volunteering. And I raised money through my charity, after the earthquake, for victims of the earthquake. I haven't spent much of the money. I've sent some money to other teachers, students who've lost homes. I've sent money to pay for some people's hotels or Airbnbs. And I still have a large amount of money that I need to give. I forget what the organization is called. Let me check real quick. I can't say the name. It's Chadash Yashame. It's such a long name. I'm so bad. I'm so sorry. Bad language learner, Bob. So I'm going to be giving money to scholarships, students who were affected by the earthquake. I think the student is from Hatay, studying at Chukurova University, and I think unfortunately lost her entire family except for her and her sister. So I would like to do this before the Bayram holiday because I think people will be too busy during that time to meet with me. So one of my former students from Chukurova University will be going with me, will help translate for me. And then I will meet this person. I will maybe be able to help volunteer giving out food or water in Hatay. And then I'm going to meet with some of my former students in Adana who are from Hatay, from the affected areas, Adiyaman. So, yeah. So, I need to postpone our class on Thursday to Friday. I think you guys have class until noon. Okay. I know it's Friday. I think it's the only time that works for me. I'll make the class shorter because we talked about everything. We just need to talk about the essay on Friday, how you're going to write your first draft. If you guys have done your pre-writing, lots of you have, and I applaud you for your hard work. I'm gonna press the applause button. And some of you have said that it's a great, effective way for you to think about your essay writing. I agree. This is why I always do this in my class. Okay, so once again, I will need to go to Adana. I bought my ticket, plane ticket, for Thursday early morning, 6:40 in the morning. I need to arrive so that I can take a car to Hatay if I can go. My boss, the US government, might not approve it because it's still pretty bad there. I don't think it's dangerous. I'm not going to be climbing into buildings. But yeah, this is something that I would like to do. Okay, and I'm going to ask, is this okay for everyone? I'll send a Google question thing. And if it's not okay, well, I can still record the videos. If you're free on Friday at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, I will be teaching from Adana, hopefully in my old office that I had 4 years ago. So, any questions? Okay. Yeah, so I was raising money from friends in America, other parts of the world, friends of friends, some people in Turkey. It's technically illegal to collect money, but I'm going to be giving it to a charity now. This charity, which is helping who? It's helping students. Let me open this. Maybe we can see it together. Not Doogie Howser. Yeah, and they do lots of work with student scholarships, giving students money. This is what I'll be doing on Thursday, and we'll talk more about the essay. I need to find more information about this essay from the university, from the School of Foreign Languages, because they might be changing the topic. I don't like the lying topic. I think there's not a lot of research. I think a lot of them are essays that other people have written. I would actually recommend no one do that one. But I will offer again, I don't know if I can. I don't care. I'll let you write any topic that I think is okay. Okay. I also am not if you are getting your research from essays online, I will not allow that. Okay. So if you found somebody's essay and you use that as a reference, that's kind of not okay for me. I want you to find like good articles from good organizations, and use it like that. So, sometimes we choose a bad topic and it's better to restart before you really have to do 8, 10, 20 hours of work, and then you find out it's not a good topic. Okay. So this little bit of extra information or extra work you have to do will make sure that you don't do the work twice or 3 times. Make it wrong. Like I want everybody to get an A in my writing class. I will help you. You have to put in the work. Okay. No, we're not there yet. So yeah. This is okay. Changing the class just this week. And then next week is the Bayram holiday. Eid. And it's on Thursday and Friday. So there will be no class. I don't know what to do. So I might just make a recording. You don't have to come. If you'd like to come, you can come. If you are celebrating with your family and you want your family to come to class with me, sure. So next week on Thursday, Friday is the Bairam holiday. Let me just check my calendar here. Okay. And even if we don't have class, you will still be doing your work. Okay. So I'll maybe send out a video to help you more with the essay. I'll maybe give you an assignment to talk about something about the holiday, right? Something that you're grateful for. We talked about things you can't live without. I asked that question because of Ramadan. Then I would like you to think about something else related to what it means to sacrifice. What is your calling? What is your passion? What is your ikigai? Ikigai. Does anybody know ikigai? Ikigai. Look it up. It's a Japanese word. I want everybody in this class to figure out what their ikigai is. So it's the intersection, like a road, two roads intersect each other. It's the intersection between what you love to do, how you can help the world, and how you can earn money. Okay. So if you're like an artist and you make some crazy artwork and you're very passionate, I don't say that you should stop if it doesn't help people, because it obviously will help somebody. But if you cannot make money doing what you do and you suffer, is it worth doing it? And sometimes that's a yes. And sometimes people, like artists, musicians, they get their money from patrons, people who give them money to say, hey, I want you to make art. Okay. I get to make my art in class, I consider myself an artist now, or a designer at least. The classes I teach aren't just educational. There's a style to them, Okay, I'm just talking. Let's go. Any questions? Friday is okay. If you can't come, then to watch the video, just like normal. I'll make an assignment. I'll explain it all. But yeah, I need to go volunteer. Okay, thank you. I need to go volunteer. I would like to donate the money that I've raised. I'll let you know. Yeah, I raised, I think, over $4,600. And I still have $3,300 left of the money. I can show you the graph. How many people have donated? Ooh, wow. I had 54 people, including myself, donate money. Total was $4,595. I've used $1,462 that I gave. And then I have $3,133. $3,133 left. I would like to give that to a human being. Yeah, sometimes when we feel hopeless and helpless, we can hide. We can just become immobile, not able to move, not able to think, not able to breathe. And then for me, I think it just helps to do something, to be productive, to use my skills and my connections and my community to help people. So I've been able to help people, my former students in Ethiopia. There was a civil war in Ethiopia. I was able to give them education so that they could study, because their parents could not send them money because of the war. The banks were cut off. So I was able to help, I think, 25 students for 2 years to be able to study outside in the universities outside of the war area. Something that I was doing, something that I'm not good at it, but it was easier for me to start something. And I have a community of people who are always willing to help me and help education, because that's really what I'm trying to help people, but help people about education. Okay. And if it can help a student like start school, start a life, start over, then I'm doing my job as an educator. So, and that's this idea for me, is this ikigai. How do I help the world? How do I do something that I'm passionate, that doesn't kill me, that doesn't make me tired, This gives me energy, it gives me purpose, it gives me a goal, it gives me satisfaction, it makes me happy, it makes me cry, it makes me feel alive to help people. So that's what I'm doing. Thank you. I hope you guys find that thing, that way of helping people in the future. Lars! We're back to Lars. We're going to go on to reading 3. There's Lars. That lady's going to spin again. Do it, lady. Do it. Yeah. All right, last part of our class. Nope. Dang it, Bob. Dang it. Just do the right thing sometimes. I'm supposed to change the slide. I will. There it is. Well, I already have Mural open. Why do I keep doing this? All right. So we have our vocabulary bank. What was our question today? Ooh, someone wrote one. I cannot say I have a really challenging life if I have to choose something. Once me and my cousins were drunk, but really drunk. It was a hard mission to keep them alive. Also, that day happened a huge fight. It was an interesting day. Nice picture. I mean, I'm sorry for laughing. I'm glad you didn't include your name. Tell me all about it in the writing class. Oh, and somebody asked a question about the essay. Okay. So this is why we do pre-writing. Okay. Before you begin writing, I want you to think. I want you to write sentences. I want you to find good articles. If you cannot do that, okay, if I keep saying, hey, can you fix this? Can you fix that? I'm going to let you know it's probably not a good topic. It probably doesn't have a lot of information. I'm going to say transportation because that's a common essay that people write online. I'm going to fight. Okay, yeah. So if you want to change it, yes, do this now before you start writing. But if you start writing your first draft and you don't like it and I give you lots of feedback and criticism, you can restart it. It's just going to take you that much more time. This is why I'm asking you to measure, to check, to research before you build a building, before you build a house. You have a plan. If your plan is not good, your house is not going to be good. There's no way. Nobody does not come prepared to build a house, measuring where everything is, measuring the ceiling, measuring the materials, mixing the materials well, making it strong so it doesn't collapse. We can still be angry about these things. Go. So you can change. But I want you to do it now. Okay? So you might want to draft just quickly, write down maybe what you think is in your body paragraph. I'm going to say this, okay? This is my choice. I only want you to write 2 causes or 2 effects. So there will be only 2 body paragraphs. So 4 paragraphs total, okay? If you write about causes of, let's say, water, I want you to write about the effect that it has in the conclusion. I'm going to explain this very carefully, okay? And I'll explain it 20,000 times. If you're going to write about the effects, in the introduction, I would like you to introduce the cause. So, some of the causes of the water crisis are not valuing water, not repairing infrastructure, blah, blah, blah. These are the effects of the water crisis, right? And then I will write 2 paragraphs, one effect, another effect. One effect would be, you know, lack of access to clean water for people in developing countries. Okay, another effect would be conflict and war caused by water rights, the right to water, the human right for water, right? And then in the conclusion, I will just summarize everything I said and say, so protect our water, value it more, blah, blah, blah. You can change the future just one tap at a time. Thank you very much. Don't ever write thank you very much at the end of your essay. I've seen people do this. It's not a speech. Okay? But good, somebody's done it. Okay, keep adding to this. I'm going to keep posting it again and again so that I'll just send it right now. So if you're watching from home, you can always click on this link anytime you want. Okay? You don't have to click on it now. But yes, anything you have a question about, if you need to, something about a sentence, okay? Something about vocabulary, you don't understand a word. How to do the grammar, why we have that sometimes in a sentence and not that, This is a person that went to the moon. This person went to the moon. I don't know. That's not a good example. Okay, all right. Let's go. Reading 2, The Invisible Enemy. Okay, so I think this is an interesting topic, especially because of the pandemic and all of the weird conspiracy theories and people and just the death of expertise. We don't listen to anybody anymore. Some people choose not to vaccinate their children because they read that the children will get autism. There's a long history of vaccinations, of variolations. There is a new vaccine, mRNA. I'm not going to get too political, guys. Don't worry. And it's new. And people are afraid of new things, remember? So yeah. And it's not so new, actually. The research has been ongoing for like 15 to 20 years about this. It's not just like, wow, magic, it appeared, There's been research and money, millions and millions and millions of dollars. Before the pandemic happened, there was research by a Hungarian lady. And then afterwards, who did the BioNTech one? It was a Turkish-German couple. I don't know her name. I should learn their names. So most people are vaccinated against certain diseases when they are young. Without certain vaccinations, students cannot attend American universities. Okay? You cannot attend public schools in America. Do you think this is fair? Why or why not? So what do you think? You tell me. Somebody added a post. Yeah. What do you think? Somebody added a post. Hold on, let's go. You wrote her name, thanks. The most challenging moment in my life was definitely when I took the university exam. Probably difficult for most of you. There was a great pressure on me, and I felt like everything and everyone was a huge burden to me. The feeling of failure had taken over my mind, but at the end of the day, I got over my insecurities, and here I am. Press that button. Congratulations. You made it. I think always through the most challenging times, we find ourselves. We discover who we really are. I think the most important thing, actually, in any relationship, romantic, friendship, is when you or your friend is stressed, how well you can overcome those things. Okay. That good days are good. That's a given. Okay. But the hard days, it's when it challenges your relationships with friends and everybody around you who feels like a burden. Thank you. Thank you, Sinam, for sharing. Thanks for sharing your name as well. So it's always nice to get to know my students through their challenges, through their joys. All right. Reading strategy. So the other one we skimmed, we looked at these statements, these I statements, these vows, these pledges. I want you now to go to the reading and write, I don't know, circle them. Circle any of words that are times, dates, time periods. We can write them on the line. We don't have to. I'm just going to go and write them. Where is my thing? Lars. Let's use the old iPad today. Okay. So the reading is called The Invisible Enemy. Let's do that before we watch this little extra video. So let's just circle anything that looks like a date, a time period, like the 19th century. I'm just going to start with everything except at the beginning. I don't care about these quotes, guys. 10,000 years, right? So we're not reading the whole thing. We're just looking at dates. 16th century, right? You're just scanning. Oh, I see, 18th century. And dates, in writing, we usually keep the numbers. We don't have to write out 18th, AITHTEENTH. Like, you don't have to write the whole thing out. It's usually the case. I don't see anything else. Do you guys? Over the centuries? I don't know. It's probably not one of them, but I'd like to use it. I see 18th century again. I see in 1721. In 1991. In, when we use years. Think of a year as a box. You can put many things in the box, and you put it in. I don't see anything there. Edward Jenner, blah, 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 blah. I'm probably missing some. This is a quick scan. I see in 1797. Do you guys see anything I don't see? In 1840, 1853. Oh my God, so many years. In 1967, in 1977, in 1980. Today. Sure, why not? That's a time. Today. Oops. Sorry, you can't see what I'm writing because I didn't show it to you. Here we go. Too many screens. Anything else? Do you see? Write it in the chat box. Don't wait for me to say write it in the chat box. Just write it in the chat box. Okay. And so, yeah, one of the things that we can do, especially when we're reading about history, right? This is about medicine, but really this is like a kind of a history text, talking about the different years, things like that. Somebody else posted in the Padlet. You guys are great. Should I answer this? Let's... Okay, I have to answer these. Can I reply? Oh, wait, no. I have to turn on the comments. Duh. Let me answer this after the class, okay? Or after this reading, so I don't interrupt. But thank you. I like it. I get my notifications on my phone. If you guys add... Somebody else just added to the Padlet. Oh, no. Okay, so we can look at these years. In the 18th century, what happened? Or the 16th century, what happened? 10,000 years. Smallpox killed millions of people, right? That's what they're talking about here. So I'm just going to underline this. In the 16th century, the Spanish conquerors brought smallpox to the Americas. We don't have to have all of that. Smallpox is very interesting. Okay, it comes from cows. It comes with people living with cows in their house because they protected their animals. You didn't have these big fences. You didn't have guns. So many guns to shoot wolves and bears or whatever. So people brought their cows inside their house and slept next to their cows because the cows were very precious. They were a part of the not the family, but the company, the work, right? And so they slept on their cows. They touched their cows. The British deliberately infected Native Americans, indigenous people, with smallpox during the French and Indian War. Okay, this is like viral warfare. Whew. I don't see anything else. Over the centuries, humans began gaining knowledge of speckled monsters. Speckled, so smallpox. Pox are little dots, little scars that you get from a disease. Okay, like the pox that you get from. We have this word for pock marks. If you had pimples and they were like really scarring, you have pock marks. And then becomes the word pox with an X. I don't know why. 18th century, Lady Marie Wortley Montagu observed its use in Turkey, where her husband was ambassador. Variolation. We'll learn about that later. Okay, she brought the practice. What did she do? She brought the practice in 1721 back to England. She took it from. See, this is what white people do. They take things. They use it. And they say, oh, we made it. Those people are stupid. No. Just because you sell it, you make it popular, doesn't mean anything. It's called appropriation. You steal dances and art from ethnic and African and Asian countries. Come on. So yeah, always before we read, just want to check out the text. Even just look at the pictures. Look at these pictures are all old, right? What years are these from? I would say anything from, I don't know, 1600s to the 1900s, 1800s. I don't know. Who's he? He was Edward Jenners, right? He sent his findings to the British Medical Association. I don't see anything else there. In 1840, variolation was banned. Okay, and universal vaccination became compulsory in England and Wales. Eradicate the United Nations World Health Organization began a global campaign to eradicate smallpox. This went badly in some countries. This is kind of where vaccines started to go to get a bad reputation. I believe it was in parts of India or Pakistan or Iran. The CIA was giving vaccines, but also taking people's information. So there was a distrust caused by another government. The last known natural case of smallpox was in Somalia in 1870, thanks to regenerative microbe hunters fighting humanity's officially. That's too long, Bob. Say 1980. Don't need all that extra. Smallpox free. Okay. Today exists only in laboratories. This is not true. This is old. Okay. Smallpox is back. There's been cases in California of people who don't vaccinate, Californians or hippies. There's like two people, people that don't trust the government, that don't trust science. And then there are like the spiritual people. And they call it conspirituality, conspiritualists. People who use conspiracy theories and spirituality to be anti-science, anti-government, anti-authority, I don't know, logic. I don't know what you believe. Okay. Someday you'll be like the flat earthers if you believe not in vaccines. But we've been believing in vaccines for how long? For a long time. Hundreds and hundreds of years. I don't know why everything's changed all of a sudden. The thing about autism, there's always been a percentage of people in our society with autism. Always. There's like a percentage. It changes, but it's usually pretty constant. I don't know. Now it's a spectrum. It's not just you have it. Some people have it like this, some people have it like this, but everybody is on the spectrum. So you might just be low. Okay. So there's people in the population. Before, though, they would just kill these people. If your baby was like weird, your baby would die, wouldn't be able to survive, grow up, would get eaten by a wolf or something like that. Or you would think that your baby was cursed, that the devil had taken the baby, and so you would do something bad. But, in our genetic variation, we have the spectrum of autism. And so to blame something that has always been around is kind of anti-science. Just like there's always been I think it's 11 or 12% of the population is left-handed. But left-handedness used to be considered the devil's thing. The word sinister, if you ever heard the word sinister, it used to just be called left people or sinister. They came from the devil. So everybody, if you ever look at paintings from the 15th century, everybody always holds everything in their right hand. Even if you were left-handed, you had to use a sword with your right hand. Okay, we used to think that left-handedness was bad. Okay, and now we realize with autism and things like that, people can live and function. Okay, we don't just kill everybody with Down syndrome. We don't kill people with mental health. We don't throw them in the asylum, like Arkham Asylum. We don't throw bad people into mental hospitals to hide them from the public. We are a lot more humane, Sorry. So political, Mr. Bob. Stop it. Okay. So let's look. Our reading strategy, 10,000 years, 16. So all of those years. Yeah. I did play Arkham's Asylum. I think they just did such a good job. Hold on, I dropped my pen. But I never beat it because it's so hard. So much puzzles. Man. It's good games, though. That's like a perfect combination of what a Batman game should be. Sneaking, stealth, fighting, flying, gadgets. It is a really hard game, though. Segway. Do you guys know this word, segway? It's spelled funny. I think it's a French word. Let's just make sure it's a French word. Segue. So you move from one thing to another, right? So I always segue. I'm sorry. If you guys are at home and you're like, Bob, focus on the book, I'm going to tell you no. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I think reading isn't just about reading. It's about learning about the world. And everything you read should make you more interested. And then it makes you more interesting as a person. Okay, everything you read here should make you interested more and more and more about the world. Okay, my segue, all these little side conversations, is how you should look at the world when you're thinking. You go here, you read this, you think about that, you think about this. I was talking about vaccines. Then I started talking about autism. Then I started talking about left-handedness, And they're all kind of connected in some way. Reading should make you think about those critically so you can put these pieces together. This is why we read not just to learn about one thing, but to learn about more than one thing. Okay? So I'm going to show you this video. Not on here, because it doesn't work, but on the Chrome. Goodbye, Neil Patrick Harris. Oh, sorry. And another word for segue is a tangent. Like the word in what's it called? The tangent line in geometry. Okay. Are you ready? I'll send you the links too. So you at home can watch this quality. We're going to make it slower too, okay?
10,000 years ago, a deadly virus arose in northeastern Africa. The virus spread through the air, attacking the skin cells, bone marrow, spleen, and lymph nodes of its victims. The unlucky infected developed fevers, vomiting, and rashes. 30% of infected people died during the second week of infection. Survivors bore scars and scabs for the rest of their lives. Smallpox had arrived. In 1350 BC, the first smallpox epidemics hit during the Egypt-Hittite War. Egyptian prisoners spread smallpox to the Hittites, which killed their king and devastated his civilization. Insidiously, smallpox made its way around the world via Egyptian merchants, then through the Arab world with the Crusades, and all the way to the Americas with the Spanish and Portuguese conquests. Since then, it has killed billions of people, with an estimated 300 to 500 million people killed in the 20th century alone. But smallpox is not unbeatable. In fact, the fall of smallpox started long before modern medicine. It began all the way back in 1022 AD. According to a small book called The Correct Treatment of Smallpox, a Buddhist nun living in a famous mountain named Ome Shan in the southern province of Sichuan would grind up smallpox scabs and blow the powder into nostrils of healthy people. She did this after noticing that those who managed to survive smallpox never got it again. And her treatment worked. The procedure, called variolation, slowly evolved, and by the 1700s, doctors were taking material from sores and putting them into healthy people through 4 or 5 scratches on the arm. This worked pretty well, as inoculated people would not get reinfected, but it wasn't foolproof. Up to 3% of people would still die after being exposed to the pus. It wasn't until English physician Edward Jenner noticed something interesting about dairy maids that we got our modern solution. At age 13, while Jenner was apprenticed to a country surgeon and apothecary in Sodbury, near Bristol, he heard a dairymaid say, "I shall never have smallpox, for I have had cowpox. I shall never have an ugly pockmarked face." Cowpox is a skin disease that resembles smallpox and infects cows. Later on, as a physician, he realized that she was right. Women who got cowpox didn't develop the deadly smallpox. Smallpox and cowpox viruses are from the same family. But when a virus infects an unfamiliar host, in this case cowpox infecting a human, it is less virulent. So Jenner decided to test whether the cowpox virus could be used to protect against smallpox. In May 1796, Jenner found a young dairymaid, Sarah Nelms, who had fresh cowpox lesions on her hand and arm, caught from the udders of a cow named Blossom. Using matter from her pustules, he inoculated James Phipps, the 8-year-old son of his gardener. After a few days of fever and discomfort, the boy seemed to recover. 2 months later, Jenner inoculated the boy again, this time with matter from a fresh smallpox lesion. No disease developed, and Jenner concluded that protection was complete. His plan had worked. Jenner later used the cowpox virus in several other people and challenged them repeatedly with smallpox, proving that they were immune to the disease. With this procedure, Jenner invented the smallpox vaccination. Unlike variolation, which used actual smallpox virus to try to protect people, vaccination used the far less dangerous cowpox virus. The medical establishment, cautious then as now, deliberated at length over his findings before accepting them. But eventually, vaccination was gradually accepted, and variolation became prohibited in England in 1840. After large vaccination campaigns throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, the World Health Organization certified smallpox's eradication in 1979. Jenner is forever remembered as the father of immunology. But let's not forget the Buddhist nun, dairy maid Sarah Nelms, and James Phipps,
And the
all
Turkish
heroes
lady.
in this great adventure of vaccination who helped eradicate smallpox.
Okay. Variolation, using the actual virus, weakened sometimes, versus vaccination. Okay. And you should learn about vaccinations. I mean, the history of them. How did they do it? It's really amazing. It's fascinating. I forget the last vaccine made by one person, no other person. His name is Hilomini. I forget. Dr. something. You know what they do? They take the virus, they put it in a thing, and then they put chicken meat, not human meat, right? Because the virus normally would attack us. But it started to, he only saves the ones that survived. If the virus could eat the chicken meat, then it was more attracted to chickens and not to humans, right? Same virus though. It's like evolution, right? You're changing it. And then he would take the ones that were surviving off chicken and then do it again. Did it 400 times for 400 years. No, for 4 years. 400 years. Did it for 4 years. Just kept taking the chicken meat, chicken cells, not chicken meat, chicken cells. And if the virus ate more of the chicken cells than human cells in the dish, then he would take that and keep multiplying that, So generations and generations and generations later, the virus would only attack chicken cells and not human cells. So that's how they made these vaccines. Just like trial and error, trial. We were able to do this much quicker with this vaccine because there was hundreds and thousands of people working on it together, not one person in a lab by himself. But one of the problems with like flu vaccines, if you've ever had one, because it's an upper respiratory disease, those viruses change quickly, as we could tell, as we found out during COVID. There was variation this and beta and gamma and I don't know and BG blah blah blah. They said in one person there was like 200 strains of COVID in an immunocompromised person, a person with no immunity, right? His body was not fighting it. They were just keeping him alive with like the tubes and things. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, we basically have to evolve a virus to not attack humans, and then we can gain immunity. Not immunity, sorry. Resistance. Nothing is 100% in science. Nothing is 100% in science. 99.9999. It's the best that you can get, okay? So yeah, I like that video. TED Ed. Go TED Ed. Love TED Ed. TED Ed. You can say it all day. All right, so our reading is The Invisible Enemy. I am going to send you to read it using my handy dandy Loom. Okay, the video is 6 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to give you 8 minutes so you can stand up, take a break. I'm going to put my timer on. Everybody at home, not at home, go ahead. Start your video. Listen, watch, read, do whatever you need to do. Understand this text. Go. Badunk. All right, so that is Lars, chapter 3, The Invisible Enemy, second reading. Wonderful. I like this. British. That's my favorite part about it. Also, I love the fact that I can see your comments. I can see who's watched it, how many times. 1 view. Woohoo! Good job. To all the other students. I don't know. I don't get many people that watch it, so maybe it's not so useful for everybody. Maybe you just don't like my voice. Who knows? But that's The Invisible Enemy. Let's get to the reading quickly. Let's look through the information. Contract the disease. An ancient and deadly enemy for almost 10,000 years. Okay, so smallpox comes from cows. It's the version of the... This is that... It's zoo... What is it called? Zooviral? Like COVID, right? They got it from some animal. A bat. And it's not like you eat a bat, you get it. You're like touching it. And it's like virus is coming onto you. There's a virus that we get from cats. Pregnant women shouldn't be around cats. Do you know that? Because there's a virus in cats that affects pregnant women only. And there's a virus that dogs have transmitted to us. It doesn't do anything to us. We have it, you know. But almost every... Have you guys ever read the book Guns, Germs, and Steel? Okay, this is the book that I was reading during the pandemic. What's the best way to look at this? Goodreads. Guns, Germs, and Steel, Mr. Bob. And it's the history of how certain people have conquered the world. And it has nothing to do with how smart somebody is. If your skin color is this, like you're smarter. No, it just had to do with geography. And that meant that if there was cows, then you were going to be more advanced than a country or an area without cows. Why cows? You could domesticate cows. But also cows were big enough to like farm. You only had agriculture if you had cows. You could control them to like plow, to make the fields ready. So this book, really in an unbiased way, shows everything, but it also talks about how if you have domesticated animals, big ones, then you are more resistant to disease because you get more diseases from having animals. If you don't have animals anywhere, you won't get diseases. Okay, just like chicken pox, the flu, those come from birds, right? If you raise chickens, people will get flu. That's just how it works. If you live around too many animals, if you go into the frontier, if you're a pioneer and you catch some wild animal, and you've never met that wild animal before, and then you start living next to it and you start like, you'll get something, you know, because that viruses are smart. They know how to like adapt. They know how to find a new victim. They're like good vampires, you know. But this book, it's a really difficult read. It's very long. I think it's well worth the read. It's really changed my look at the world. How some places have a writing system and some never did. And everything starts with temperature, geography, and animals present. The Americas never had big cows that were domesticatable. They had bison, which were wild. You could never domesticate those. You needed those in order to have agriculture. And if you didn't, then you were just behind. Very interesting read, guys. Guns, Germs, and Steel, Jared Diamond. Check it out. Find it at your local bookstore. All right. 50% would contract the disease. 20 to 30% of the victims would die. Actually, I want to find something. Not on Netflix. Can I find it on YouTube? What is that one? Explained Pandemics. It's like a really good chart. Ooh. I have to stop the recording because I'm gonna pop. Sorry. If a virus kills too many people too quickly, the virus dies. So the virus evolves to not kill people so bad. So the original smallpox was crazy. I mean, it killed 20 to 30% of its victims, right? And now if you get smallpox, it's not as bad. It's like weakened. It's weakened on purpose so it can survive. That's the job of a virus. If it's too effective, it dies. If it's not effective enough, then... But if it can live forever, right? If the virus can live forever, like the flu, the cold virus, that's a virus. We can't cure it. You always will have a cold. There is no cure for the cold. There's no vaccine for the cold virus. It stays in your nose. And why? Because your nose, sorry, I only think in Fahrenheit. Your nose is the perfect 94 degrees Fahrenheit for the virus to exist. There's nowhere else in the body that the cold virus can live. So the virus that affects your nose, called rhinovirus, the nose virus, also called the common cold. Its name is the rhinovirus, which means nose. The rhinoceros has a big nose. And yeah, so it's so fascinating. We have this virus that's been with us. It doesn't kill us. It doesn't kill anybody. Does anybody die of a cold? No. And it's perfect. It's a perfect virus. It will never, ever go away. It will be with humans forever. And it's doing its job. It's making babies. Okay, sorry. Stop. Okay, words like decimating. What does decimate mean? Immunity, infected, ravaged. Wow. That's a brutal word, you know. Ravaged every class of society. The teacher ravaged the students. No, don't ever do that. Spanish conquerors, right, brought smallpox to the... They say that half of the population of the Americas were killed by smallpox and other viruses brought from the Spanish, right? Because they had no immunity. They had no immunity because they didn't have cows. They didn't have large domesticated animals that they were getting viruses from. They were like pretty clean, you know? They didn't have any of these things that living in a city caused you to have, you know? And I think it's, you know, so at the end of the day, it's a good thing to get sick because it makes you stronger. Yeah, more Native Americans died of smallpox than died in battles with white settlers. Okay, and they used this virus to kill people, giving Native Americans infected with smallpox, send them back to their community. Everybody gets sick, everybody dies, right? This is how Cortez conquered Mexico, how he invaded Tenochtitlan and conquered Central America, not with, I think it was only with 20 or 50 people. He was able to do it because there was an epidemic. There was not a pandemic, an epidemic outside that was happening, that was affecting everybody in the Americas at the same time. Because it's airborne. It comes from touch as well, so different ways. In London, death claimed 80% of the children under 5 years old. Yeah. In Berlin, 98%. Ravaged, caused rashes, blisters. Queen Elizabeth, Mozart, all knew the suffering it brought. These people all had it, you know. I guess they don't paint their faces with pockmarks. Gain knowledge of the speckled monster. Speckle is like when you have little dots, like a speckled egg has little dots on it. Speckle, little like glitter, you know, but not shiny. Natural, from this observation, from one thing they learned, the survivors never caught the disease again. So one of the things about diseases, viruses, not in the upper lungs, is it only infects you once and then you have immunity. These viruses don't change very fast. They're not supposed to, right? They never evolved to do that. They change slowly over time. If you have ever had chicken pox, you only get it once, right? You can get a vaccine for chicken pox. But if you have chicken pox, you have those little dots, you're scratchy, you're as a kid. If you have it once, you never get it again until you're an adult. Then they call it shingles. And then you get it really bad. So the virus actually never dies. It's in your body. So chicken pox becomes shingles when you become an adult. It's a good thing to know. But it doesn't kill you, so you're okay. Don't worry. It's just uncomfortable. If you're immunocompromised, if you're already sick, if you have other underlying diseases, things like diabetes, other things, you might suffer more and you might have complications. It's called comorbidity. Morbidity is death, co is with. So like, lots of people were dying during COVID because not just COVID, but if you have the flu and you get pneumonia, you can die, right? If you have COVID and you have other underlying diseases, you can also die, especially without a vaccine, without immunity. She brought the practice to England. This Lady Wortley, she observed variolation being used in Turkey. Of course, right? Ancient civilizations, the Fertile Crescent area, where all these ancient civilizations arose. Of course, Turkey would have figured this stuff out along with China and India. She brought the practice to England in 1721. So the pus, if you've ever had like an infection, like it's the white, it bubbles up. If you've ever I don't know, and you cut it, and if you have a scar and you don't treat it, you'll start to see little white things. That's called the pus. That's your body fighting the virus, okay? So even though it looks disgusting, it is a good thing. When you see that, it means that your body is fighting the virus. Those things that come out are the dead virus, actually. That's why they use the pus in the smallpox thing. Take the little cut from that pus. That's how you get these pock marks, these marks on your face. If you've ever had a scar, you know what that looks like. This causes a low-grade smallpox infection. If the disease does not develop any further, the person will get well and be immune ever after. So I don't know if you've ever felt really sick, almost felt sick. Like you're like, oh, I'm under the weather. You go to sleep, you take care of yourself, you drink water, you rest well for a day or two, and you don't get sick all the way. That's like your job, your body, your immune system doing its job, Like our immune system, think about all the times you almost got sick, you felt ill, then you rested, you took care of yourself, you relaxed, you stopped stressing about work and school or whatever, and your body healed. You just fought a virus. Okay? Just every day we're being exposed anyways. You have a natural defenses. The hair in your nose protects you. The mucus in your throat protects you from getting sick. When you kind of cough by accident, you're letting those things out. Okay? Your body, your skin is like number one immune system against any foreign invader. I swear to protect my country from enemies, domestic, foreign and domestic. It was a dangerous procedure, though, right? Some people still would get sick. Some people naturally don't have any immunity to anything, right? There's a small percentage of people, it doesn't matter. So let's just say they're allergic to something, right? If you're allergic to something, you might just get sick of eating a peanut and die. We don't blame the peanut, do we? I think we do blame the peanuts now. Peanuts, because the virus is not always weak enough, and those who variolate could start epidemics, right? That was the problem with variolation, using the actual disease, getting it wrong, it's not weak enough, or the victim, the patient, it's not strong enough to fight it, right? So if their immune system's not strong enough and they actually get sick, even from a weakened virus, it means that you're weak. It just means that you're not well. successfully. Probably because in variolation, the disease entered the body through the skin rather than through the lungs and was thus less virulent. See? You got to remember this part. Nevertheless, the process was usually successful, probably because in variolation, the disease entered the body through the skin rather than the lungs and was thus less virulent. Think of the word virus. Virulent means something that spreads quickly, right? We can call something a viral video. Does it have a disease in it? Yes, it does. It's misinformation. So this is what they're talking about, right? Anything that enters our lungs, a disease that affects our lungs, like the flu or COVID, spreads quickly because it's more virulent. It attacks you quicker. Just imagine it's inside your body and you can't scratch inside your lung. You know, you can't put like an antibiotic or something. You can't treat your inside your lungs. No, you can't. I don't know if you smoke cigarettes and it can help you. No, don't do that. Although only about 2% of variolation patients died, it was still too many. So 2%. You know, we talk about this very small percentage, but it's huge. 1 million people, 2% is how much? 1 million people. It would be 20,000. 20,000? Let's say 100 million people. Out of 100 million people, 2 million people would still die. That's a lot. But it's too many, right? This is why science always talks about 99.9999%. That's what we want to get to. Nothing is perfect, guys. He inoculated. Inoculate means to like put a vaccine in somebody, right? I was inoculated against measles, mumps, rubella when I was a kid. Okay, I got an inoculation for yellow fever when I went to Ethiopia. I had many vaccines I had to take before I could go to Ethiopia. I didn't take any before Turkey, but some people do because they're white. Children had acquired cross immunity, being immune to something because of something else. Right? He called this prevention method a vaccine, from the Latin for cow. See? How interesting this is. Everything is related to the cow. We get smallpox from the cow. We get the vaccine from a cow. The thing that kills us gives us milk, and it also gives us the cure. Pretty cool stuff. He sent his findings to the British Medical Association in 1977. They refused, right? They wanted more proof. Variolators who were afraid to lose their livelihoods argued against him, right? So there's always this people that want the old way, not the new way, not the new yay. Variolators who were afraid to lose their livelihoods. Cartoonists showed patients growing cow heads, right, after getting vaccinated. Have you seen this before? Have you seen this in social media? Have you seen this with conspiracy theorists? Cartoonists showed patients growing cow heads after getting vaccinated. People have been using fear mongering. A fishmonger is somebody who like fishes and collects fishes and sells fish, right? A fearmonger is somebody who collects fear and just gives it away for free. You can see this on the news after earthquakes, you know, all the fear mongering. An earthquake will hit California in the next couple days, guys. California will hit here. Like, you start seeing it everywhere after this southeast Turkish earthquake. Fear mongering. But when other doctors and scientists repeated his experiments and found that he was right, Jenner became a hero. So this is what we're talking about: heroes, pioneers, and heroes. Okay. Edward Jenner was a pioneer. He started something new, and because of that, and he was able to save lives, he became a hero. In France, Jenner was so revered. Okay, like you're honored. People worship you almost, right? We revere gods. We revere our teachers, our parents, our role models, and things like that. That the French Emperor Napoleon freed some British prisoners of war, saying, "Ah, Jenner, I can refuse him nothing." Napoleon always has his hand in his shirt pocket or something. In 1848 was banned. Okay, something is banned. It's not allowed to be sold anymore. We've banned fluorescent lights, not fluorescent. What is it called? Fluoro tubes. Now you have to use LED. Yay! It became compulsory. Okay, compulsory is something we use when we talk about governments or education. You all had compulsory English education. Okay, you were forced to take it. It wasn't your choice. Okay, university is your choice. Is prep school? Is this Hazerlik program? Is this compulsory? No, right? You can test in, you can test out of it. Some of you choose this on purpose. I know. It became compulsory in England and Wales. Okay, and people fought this, right? People have always fought something. They've always fought new things. They've always fought things that they did not understand. Not everybody's a scientist, okay? 15 million people were still getting the disease every year. This is in 1840. And 2 million were dying from it. That's a lot. That's a high percentage. In 1967, the United Nations began a global campaign to eradicate smallpox with free vaccines. Okay, so they gave this to everybody in the world. The hope was that if you could get enough immunity, herd immunity, you would get rid of the virus, right? If like 90 something % of the population has immunity through a vaccine or naturally, then you can destroy a virus. That's what we're trying to get with COVID. It's kind of feels like that. I don't hear about people getting COVID so much anymore. What about you? I am talking so much. Microbe hunters fighting humanity's invisible enemies, right? So viruses, bacterias, these are all these invisible enemies. Officially, they declared the world it's free from smallpox. Today, the smallpox virus exists only in laboratories. No, it's back. These discoveries of the past remain the hope of the future for other diseases that plague mankind. We have 2 minutes. I'm sorry, guys. I think there was smallpox outbreak at Disneyland. Yeah. Because people would go there and not be vaccinated, and they would be everywhere. It's back, okay? There's been outbreaks in New York because people aren't vaccinating their children anymore. I don't know. We've been doing this for hundreds of years now. We still don't understand the science. Okay, I talked your head off. I'm sorry. Do the rest of these. I will send you all of the answers. You can check the Miro for the answers. You don't have to do reading number 3. You can do it if you'd like. I can send you a video. But yeah, that's it. We're finished with medicine. Okay. So again, I'm going to remind you before we end that the future, okay? Dang it, Bob. The future. I will be going to Adana and Hatay on Thursday, 13th of April. I'll send a message on Google Classroom. So I will postpone our class on Thursday to Friday at 13. I hope you don't have any major plans. I'm sorry for not informing you earlier. I just bought my ticket yesterday, so I'm a very late planner. And so we'll talk more about this essay, okay? If you haven't done your pre-writing task, please do that. Please wait for comments. Ask any questions that you might have. You can talk about vaccines. Cause of COVID. The effects of COVID. I don't know. It's more interesting than I think drug abuse. I think it's way better than writing about lying. I'm breaking some rules by letting you do this. I don't care. I want you to be able to be passionate about what you're writing about. And I want you to enjoy the writing process and learn something about what you're writing about. Become more passionate, become an expert almost. This is what essay writing and writing lets you do. You can pretend, you can practice to become an expert at something. And someday when somebody asks you about your topic and you're like, oh yeah, I wrote an essay about that, you can tell them all that they want to hear. They'll be so happy. You'll be a knowledgeable human being. All right. It's 2:00. I'm sorry. Thank you guys for coming and listening. Sorry at home for having to watch such long videos. We'll finish all of this stuff. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for all your great work. Go onto Google Classroom. It looks crazy and scary at times, but you'll be fine. So thank you. Have a great day. I will see you on Friday for writing. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks. Goodbye. Yeah.